This is Rob Tebbutt for Boxing Social. I'm delighted to be joined once again by Frank Warren. We're here today at the Carl Frampton-Luke Jackson final press conference. We're at Windsor Park and it is raining cats and dogs outside, Frank.
It just stopped.
Well, that's a good luck charm, I think.
And it is, isn't it? Yeah, so there you go. Listen, don't worry about the rain. It's not going to rain on Saturday. That's the main thing.
Isn't it? I've seen a few forecasts that point to the different.
We will see. We will see.
So, what do we see today? Main event, WBO interim featherweight title on the line. Carl Frampton gets his dream venue, Windsor Park, defending against unbeaten Australian contender Luke Jackson.
He does. It is his dream come true. He's always wanted to fight here, and Luke Jackson's here to, he believes, turn his dream into a nightmare. That we will see. But it's a very important fight for Carl. It's one he can't afford to slip up on. He's fighting in front of all his fans. It's a sellout occasion. And as I say, the atmosphere is going to be fantastic, and I'm sure he won't want to let his fans down.
Something I spoke about with Carl last night when I sat down and interviewed him, he said to me that there's no chance, this is something that actually came up in the press conference, no chance of him taking the eye off the ball because it's Windsor Park. In the build-up to this fight, have you noticed anything different about Carl? I mean, it's not the SSE, obviously it's a fantastic venue, but this is different, isn't it? Of
course it is. It's his, as he said, his childhood dream to fight here, and we've made it come true. I think, listen, all fighters, I don't care who they are, they all have nerves, but at the end of the day, he knows he's got to deliver. He's a consummate professional. He's been in the game a while. He's a double-weight world champion, a two-time world champion, I should say. So he's now, he knows that he's got big fights on the horizon, providing he comes through this, and that's really what he's worked hard to do, and I'm quite sure he feels that he's going to deliver.
Let's talk about that, the big fights on the horizon. Carl, very diplomatic today, refused to be drawn on questions about Josh Warrington, Oscar Valdez. Your job as a promoter is to look further ahead, look at potential fights. Should it all be in well, he come through against Luke Jackson, he becomes mandatory for the WBO title. Obviously, the Josh Warrington fight has been heavily rumoured, both under your guidance. Which one of those fights is the more realistic fight after this, all being well? Well,
I think it says a lot about Carl. First of all, he says that he's only interested in thinking about and focusing on his fight on Saturday against Jackson. As you mentioned, I do look to the future, and it's no secret that Josh Warrington's coming to the town. Josh is going to be working and commentating for BT on the 9. He wants to fight. I know Carl wants a big fight, and for me, there's no bigger domestic fight than that between those two guys. I mean, it's a massive, massive fight in that division. Of course, Valdez is a big fight, and we all know that. But I think it's an easy fight for us to make because they both want it, and I think we can satisfy them financially. And if we can do that, then I'd like to get that fight on.
Carl told me last night that he felt out of the two, Oscar Valdez would be a more difficult fight than Josh Warrington. Comments on that?
I don't know. I mean, I think Carl, as I mentioned earlier, is a consummate professional, but so is Josh. Josh is no slouch. Keep talking about upsets. I tell you what is a big upset, not far as I was concerned, but as far as the boxing fraternity and certainly the bookmakers were concerned, was Josh Warrington beating Lee Selby. And he didn't just beat him, he done him in every department. In every area, he won that fight. So I think he's one of the top guys out there, and those two guys fighting each other would be something special.
A lot of the talk this week has obviously been about Tyson Fury. We covered that the other day. This is Carl's day. Carl told me that, which was quite surprising to me, really. Obviously, being his dream venue, I would have thought that he would have wanted all the attention on him, certainly what I would have been like, very selfish like that. But he said to me that this has sort of helped him. It sort of helped him go under the radar, concentrate on the fight, and the whole Fury business in the background hasn't bothered him at all. Does that surprise you?
No, not really, because I think, as I say, you're a boxer. You're under the microscope if you're you're the main event. You're under the microscope, certainly in your hometown, and all the fans are coming out to see you. And maybe that's taken some of the pressure off of him. The fact that so many people are talking about Tyson Fury, his fight, and his potential fight with Wilder.
Elsewhere on the card, Carl Frampton's childhood friend, Paddy Barnes, challenges for the WBC World Flyweight title against Cristofer Rosales. A little bit different from Paddy today and this week. He hasn't quite been the happy-go-lucky chap that he usually is. I think general consensus is that he's very serious about this fight, as well he should be. Just your thoughts on that?
Well, I think he is serious about the fight. He's stepping right up to the plate, 5 pro fights, and fighting a guy who's not a bad fighter in Rosales. So I think that he is focused, he's serious. Again, he's fighting in front of his fans, so he won't want to be losing in front of them. He's going to be giving he's 100%, and he wants that belt. I mean, I've spoken to him a couple of times today, and he just seems so confident about it. He really is confident about it. And, talking about upsets again, Rosales went to the other guy's backyard and won the world title. He went to Japan and come away with that belt, and nobody expected him to do it. So, let's hope that Paddy can pull off, which a lot of people think is going to be a very, very difficult task for him. But believe you me, if having bottle, guts, whatever you want to call it, desire, and certainly being game, he should win it.
Just back to Carl Frampton, one thing that he did mention to me last night is he seemingly, I sensed like something missing from Carl with respect to Leo Santa Cruz. Now, I know when we were first talking about Windsor Park, I mean, the ideal opponent, the dream opponent for everyone was Santa Cruz. It's 1-1. I think he's kind of settled in the knowledge that it's going to be Valdez or Warrington after this, all being well. Is the Santa Cruz fight something that you feel you can deliver for him personally in the future?
Well, it depends how the fight turns out, obviously on Saturday, and also when he fights either a Valdez or a Josh Warrington. If he comes through those, of course I'll move heaven and earth to make it happen. If he comes through those fights, that's what we're all about. We're about delivering. We're about delivering our promises. I mean, it would have been fantastic if that fight had been happening this weekend, but obviously Santa Cruz wasn't available. But let's just get get this fight out of the way on Saturday, and then, fighting either a Valdez or a Josh Warrington. They're massive fights. They're tough fights. They're not easy jobs. They're tough fights.
Okay, and just lastly, as I've said to you many, many times in the past, valued, loyal subscriber to Boxnation. I, like every other boxing fan, don't really know what's going on with Boxnation at the minute. There seems to have been changes that I'm not really privy to, I don't really understand. Can you just explain sort of what the situation is with Boxnation at the minute? Well,
not really. What we've done, and Boxnation is what it's continued to do. It's showing the best fights from around the world, and it continually does that. And it's also showing a lot of live, which most of them, all of them are live fights. As far as my promotion is concerned, I've signed an exclusive deal with BT, and we made that announcement months ago, and that's how it is. That's how we're able to make the fights that we're making on Saturday. That's how we're able to talk about Tyson Fury coming for his fight and being able to fight the likes of Wilder and being able to compete in those fights. In the meantime, Boxnation will do what it does really, really well. We're showing the best fights from around the world and some really good domestic scraps. Lots of them. It's great value for money. It's on the BT platform, so BT subscribers can watch it and Boxnation subscribers get it. It's a great channel, and it will continue to go from strength to strength. And there are some big announcements that are being made over the next month.
I was going to say, when can we expect those announcements? Well, you said they're going to be in the next few months. How come we didn't get? I mean, what was the card that was on? There was the Garcia Easter fight that I had to. Sorry, I shouldn't say this on camera. I had to illegally stream. Sorry, Showtime, if you're watching this. Why wasn't that picked up?
I don't know. I don't buy the fights, you see. But I will find out, and I will give you the answer to that. I will find out and give you the answer. And stop illegally streaming. You'll be arrested.
There was no legal way for me to watch the fight.
Well, everybody says, you've got to be a law-abiding citizen, and streaming is stealing.
Frank, I would never illegally stream one of your shows because it's readily available to me in the UK.
Absolutely. You've got some great Boxnation fights on to watch, and you also got some great fights on BT. So do not nick them. Otherwise, you might get nicked yourself.
Yeah, I might have to cut that. Just finally, Frank, can you just give fans who are going to be tuning in on Saturday night to watch Carl Frampton defend his WBO interim featherweight title and Paddy Barnes challenge for the WBC flyweight world title a message? What can you expect to see this Saturday at Windsor Park?
I think you're going to see you're going to feel an atmosphere come through because it's jammed, it's sold out, and I think you're going to see some very, very interesting and some really good fights. There's some great fights down the undercard as well, some really good fights on there. Plus, you're going to see Deontay Wilder in town, and you're going to see Josh Warrington in town. So the protagonists have a lot to aim for, and those guys are at ringside to accommodate them.
We almost made it 10 minutes without talking about Deontay Wilder, but we'll let you off.
Who?
Frank Warren, as always, it's a pleasure catching up with you. Thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social. Look forward to seeing you later.
See you tonight, mate.
Cheers, mate.